What is going on, crypto enthusiasts? Good morning, Liquidity Citadel. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you guys are having a beautiful start to your day. Ultimately, same goal that we have every time we hop on here. Looking for good entries, looking for discipline to actually present itself. While we're in these streams, we're going to be discussing ETH. We're going to be looking at USDT. We're also going to be looking at BTC, and we're going to look at Sol. And I may peek at River. I did take some entries on River last night. But then I ultimately just wanted to close it. I preferred the sleep over managing it through London altogether. We are looking for long entries here on ETH. I'll be sharing those with you guys here live on the stream. For those that are new to this channel, we do have a free Discord for you. All the setups that we put inside of this stream are going to be inside of that channel. So you'll know before the stream actually occurs what the play is, what we're looking for, where we're looking forward to mature from entries, stop loss, things of that nature. These are things that I'm going to be personally doing on my side. It's 100% going to be your choice. This is predominantly for educational purposes. This is not financial advice. So just give you guys a quick heads up on that. Outside of that, let's get into some of these charts. Let's see what we got going on and developing over here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, Omar? Good morning, brother. Good morning, good morning. You guys long 1907. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm not mad at you. Not mad at you. I don't think that's a bad play, if you will. What's up, Sniper? What's up, big dog? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, so I mean, I have slightly lower targets. Don't get me wrong. I did enter on this rectangle. This is something that we were discussing inside of the war room just yesterday. I believe going into Asia, we were looking at like 1912, 1907 inside of those areas. And essentially, you know, the same thesis is what we're operating off of. You know, we're looking at a rectangle bottom. Yes, we did have a minute wave count that we were looking at that did get violated. So that minute wave was invalidated, but doesn't change the thesis in the sense of where we're going. It just forces us to reassess where that wave count is going to be coming from. And I do have the adjusted wave counts that are in there. Those are also posted inside of the war room for you guys, just for reference. But that's what comes with trading. You know, no one's going to be 100% on, and at times when you do have overlooks or mistakes, however you want to label it, you don't want to chalk that up to you're a bad trader or anything like that. You just have to adapt and reassess, or reassess and adapt. That's a better way of putting it. So we adapted, we reassessed. I have an updated wave count for us. I'll be sharing that with you as well too, which actually kind of points towards higher levels, just based from a wave count perspective. Ultimately what we're looking at. So we have two things that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing, well, several things, to be quite honest. We're going to be discussing the wave count. We're going to talk about this rectangle bottom, and then we're also going to talk about, you know, where the current trend is at right now on a 4-hour. That's mainly what I've been operating and working off of this week specifically, mainly because it kind of fits into the narrative as far as what I'm looking at. I am working on higher time frames at the same time, from a 5-day to a 2-week and even a monthly. But as we all know, you know, those higher time frames are pretty slow here for a stream. So we're going to work on a 4-hour, and we're going to work our way down to lower time frames. The lower time frames are going to give us the moves first. It's not going to give us a stronger data. So we're going to build our data based off a 4-hour, and then we're going to bleed down to like lower time frames just to get confirmation that these levels are actually going to maintain themselves. So that being said, let me dive into this right now. Let me just give you a quick overview. This is what I had posted inside of the corner. I do have some liquidity pockets that sit right inside of this area on lower time frames, like 1897 all the way down to like 1865. So like I'm open to all of those levels. Now, in the event, like I was saying, what if it front runs? What if we never even get to those levels? You know, what's a good entry point for us that we should be looking at? Well, then we need to be focusing on this rectangle bottom. You can see the image that I pulled right here from Thomas Bukowski. This is thepatternsight.com. This is where I'm pulling that data from. It's a free website. You know, just Google it. look for a rectangle bottom chart, and you can see all the data that's on there. So it's just one of those tools that I'm using for research. And this is kind of what we're playing with, right? Like if you just look at the pattern and look at where we're at right now, there's a lot of similarities. And just a quick segue, we have the same thing that's developing here for USDT, except we have a rectangle top, right? So, we want to see a breakdown here in this area. We do have some imbalances that have developed here on a 4-hour for USDT. If I bleed down to like a 144, there's more imbalances to the downside, but I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves here. So that being said, we did have a wave count. We were utilizing this as a wave 1, and then this being a possible wave 2, and then we're going to get our 3, which would have been minute, would have gave us shorter bursts. However, just reassessing it here, looking at these angles here, we tapped into 88% retracement. So we pushed up here, we retraced basically 88% of this move. Can it come down a little bit lower? Yeah, it can get to like 93, 92. So as long as it doesn't sweep underneath this area. So like all of this area, in my opinion, is free game, for lack of better terminology, for price action to get into before we can start seeing a move up. So right now, we want to determine if wave 2 is done. If this in fact is a wave 1, and then we're going to get a wave 2. I believe this is actually not a minute. This should actually be a minor. There we go. That's more of minor versus a minute. With that being said, we could see us still stuck inside of this rectangle, right? We could still bounce inside this area. Essentially, that would be our range. So assuming an individual had longed from this area, from the bottom of that rectangle, again, not mad at it. I did take some positions myself on it. I have some additional targets that come down just a little bit lower to get picked up, with a stop loss that sits right around like 1793 inside of that area. If I get stopped, I'm not gonna sit there and like, oh, that's it. We're going down to 1500, 1600s. I'd still be looking for longs inside of that area. That's me personally. Inside that zone, I'm okay with taking the stop loss on it and then going back in at a better entry point. The overall thought process on the higher data from the monthly is that this is a wave A. I was discussing this with one of our students just yesterday. We were looking at daily and looking at from a daily perspective, like this whole move down is a bearish wave count. It was a bearish wave 3. And then essentially we'd be going into a wave 4 right now, bearish wave 4, which aligns with the wave B for the monthly. So my point being to that is you can look at multiple different timeframes and kind of get to the same conjecture in the sense of targets and what the next move is potentially going to be. So that being said, whether we're in a wave 3, a bearish wave 3 from a daily, or we're inside of a bearish wave A from a correction wave from a monthly, ultimately relief is coming along the way at some point. 26, 23, that's going to be a significant area for me. I think 2700 would be even better. Just saying what it is. You watch crypto Twitter and things of that nature, and everyone's like calling for the bottom, bull run's going to start beginning and all that jazz. I'm not signing on to that. I do believe that we have a lot lower to go for ETH and BTC altogether. I think ETH and BTC would ultimately finish somewhere around like 1100 by the time this bear market is complete. 1100, maybe even a 3-digit ETH, right? We may even get down to the 900s. That's very, very, very possible. And then I have targets for BTC sitting somewhere around like 45, 44K inside of that range. But first, in order for us to kind of push down in those areas, we need to collect some liquidity. From a DMI perspective, we'll analyze this real quick. This is kind of how I'm viewing this. Sure, we do have some dominance that's picking up, but we've seen this already once before so far, where dominance starts to pick up. There was separation between DI positive and DI negative. There's compression here. ADX was sitting inside of these all-time lows. From an ADX perspective, anything that's below 10 is relatively showing us compression. There's compression. The question is going to be which direction is going to take that. So looks like sellers, bears, started to dominate on that direction. They took it once, but they failed to cross over, which is it's showing us a sign of exhaustion, not weakness, but just showing us a sign of exhaustion. So sellers are getting to a point where they're just like, yeah, we keep pushing, but buyers keep stepping in and absorbing. Now it's really just going to be a matter of which side actually steps in. If we have a bunch of shorts that start stepping in from a retail perspective, that could provide the liquidity, where we have bottom shorters that ultimately get squeezed and we move up to the upside. And again, the upside being for right now being somewhere inside of these areas. We want to see 2148 inside of that area, the top of that rectangle being tested. So for example, if I took an entry here, at the 1912, 1910, 1907, whatever, inside of those areas, my first TPs that I'm ultimately looking at are going to be right around 2038, take a little bit off the top there just to skim it off. Then I'd be looking at 2141, 2148 inside that area just to see, are we going to hit that level and then come right back down again? I'd much rather take the profits and come back down and look for another add back or look for a better entry altogether. If we break out of this compression range that we're in right now to the upside, and we blow past 2141, then there's two targets that I'm looking at. I think minimum would be somewhere around like 2295, so right at that 2300 level. That's a 1.618 wave 3 area. There is some liquidity that sits inside that zone. Yes, there is. However, from a wave 3 impulse perspective, right? Like, because it's your most impulsive candle, it's your, most impulsive wave. I think 2.618 kind of puts us inside of that bracket where we can really start discussing, okay, are we going to go a little bit lower? Because then we'll start testing previous lows, or previous support, which is 2623 inside of those areas. Now, short term, inside of this little range that we're in right now, let's just drill down and look at some sequential counts and just kind of layer that in. We have a 7 that was definitely higher than our 8 and a 9. So this is what we consider a 9 failure. Typically we want to see either the 8 or the 9 that's greater than the 7 or 6. When the 7 is greater than the 8 or 9, essentially we will revisit this area, whether that's short term or maybe it progresses a little bit later, but down in the future we come back in that area, we will revisit that area. So this is why I was kind of alluding to saying, okay, well, if we clear this imbalance here in this area, this 9 failure, maybe we touch the top of this rectangle and then we head right back down again. I'm definitely gonna be looking to start taking some profits inside of that zone. At least that's how I'm going to be handling that, because I don't know. I don't I know you guys think I may have a magic ball here, but I don't, in the sense of, what if we do come back down? And so round tripping is going to be like not where we want to be, and that's really where the market is doing on both sides when we're inside of this compression phase. So not one side is profiting like you wouldn't believe, unless you short it from like 4,700. We got some guys in here that are actually still holding those shorts from 4,700. It's like those are the ones that they can go to sleep, walk away, and they're like, yeah, I don't have anything to worry about. I'm good. So if you're shorting from 2100s, I shorted from 2031. There was a wave B on a lower time frame for a Navarro pattern that we were utilizing. I shorted from that level. I took profits when we got to like 1929 inside of that area, and then late last night, like around like right when London was beginning, I was just like, yep, close everything. I preferred to sleep versus sitting there waiting. So that in short, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Let's look at a lower time frame. I'm going to come down here to a 3 minute just so we can navigate through that. Looking at some liquidity pockets, we tapped into a few that sit right over here. There's another one that sits right around like 1898. This is where that 4-hour setup was coming from that I had posted inside of our stream corner. So this area is really what's pushing that thesis on a lower time frame, saying, okay, maybe we get a nice little fast wick down to the downside and then we can start pulling up. So just under that 1900, but then reclaim the 1900s. 4-hour has some deeper pockets, which are relatively inside of the same zone, 1880 inside that area. So let's see how that develops. Now, as you guys know, if you have any questions for me, any concerns or anything of that nature, feel free to always put it inside the chat. More than happy to assist. If you guys are new to the stream, haven't been here before, we do have a section inside of our server that kind of points towards all the setups that we have. So in the very beginning of the stream, you'll see the setup that's here. It's right inside this zone, so you could always look at it. And then if you want to look at previous where we were at as well too, what that day finished with, P&L wise, things of that nature. We are still running the 1K to 10K challenge inside here. I have some exciting news for you guys down the road that I'll be announcing next month in regards to campaigns and setups. So be on the lookout for that. But right now we're running a campaign with Bitfinex. There is a deposit reward that they're going to be providing you, coupled with like 30% discount off of trading fees. So it's a good opportunity to take advantage of that. If you don't have that link, it's inside of the description for you guys. Yeah, I can look at BTC here in a second. I mean, if BTC decides to sync, obviously everything else is going to sync with it. I'd be looking like somewhere like 62. This trend is looking like it's running into short-term exhaustion already. You can see that on the later phase we have a 13. Look, when we also printed a 13 over here inside this area. This is from a 1 hour. Let's look at a 4 hour real quick. Let's see if I can find a rectangle bottom. Very similar to ETH, but this looks more exhausted on BTC. I mean, because this bottom line right here, this could actually, open up, and then you have a rectangle bottom that looks like that. But I'm utilizing this wick right here as the assumption that we can get the similar pattern. So I would look at BTC somewhere on like 65, 164. Let's make that a straight line. So I'd look at this right over here. If we break this line right over here, like we sweep this candle right over here, then I'm targeting 61, 822, and ETH will follow suit. ETH will come down to our lower targets. ETH would most likely come down to right around inside these areas, inside these zones. We'd have a much larger rectangle bottom, if you will. But look, I mean, we've hit 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So essentially we have like 4 or 5 hits that are occurring inside this zone. We've only had 3 here. We really haven't even come back and retested this area yet. I feel like those hit levels have some significance. Technically, we've actually already hit it more than 5 times, really. Because we got right here, and we got right here. So when you do your research on this pattern right here, it's looking for anywhere between 3 to 5 hits. You know, we got 3 hits here at the top, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at 6. 6 hits on this line. That's what I'd be looking at on BTC. Let's look at this 3-minute real quick. Yeah, because this 3-minute, we got sell signals that are printing here. I want to double check something. Yeah, should get a flush down into those levels. So give us a nice little buy signal right over here. Let's look at volume as well too. Remember last week? I don't know if you guys remember this is very similar to what we saw last week in the sense of like how price action behaved. You know, we had moves over the weekend, then came Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, we had better luck watching my hair grow back. And then came Friday, we actually started to see our move on Friday, which was short-lived, but nevertheless, you know, we saw a little move. We did get a tiny little pump, if you will, a little smidget up to that 2031 benchmark, but then came right back down again too. I want to look at a weekly real quick. Yeah, it's a tall feet. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a big push to change it that week. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a little bit easier. Yeah, and that kind of lines up with what a wave 3 would look like. I don't think we'll get that move. Obviously, we're not going to get that move here on this stream. We're not going to get that move most likely going until we go into next week. What I'm looking at is from a sequential count perspective on the weekly, which coincides with the 4-hour, right? Because we're looking at 4-hour, you know, saying somewhere maybe around 2715, 2500s inside of those areas. But let's just go with a wave 5 and let's just say 2715 inside that area. Now let's flip back over to a weekly real quick and let's just look at the sequential count. You know, we have 3 days left inside of this current session, going 4 back, 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us all the way over here at like 2806. That's a big stretch to occur within 3 days. I just don't see that relatively happening, especially with bearish volume that's developing. Right now, it's just all about building inside that area. Now going into next week, let's count 4 back. Let's assume, you know, this is next week. Excuse me, go 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us right over here inside of this zone, inside this area. So next week will be a confirmation week to say, okay, can we climb back above and hold that area? Maybe we get to this zone. And now let's look at a monthly. For me, monthly, what I would like to see occur, and you know what I want doesn't matter. This is just kind of the way I'm thinking. If we can pull back up and close inside this month right around like 2174. So let's just play devil's advocate here. Let's say the next following week we can get back into 2262 and then have a retracement back down to like 2175. We'll still be inside of a bullish setup phase, right, which is going to point towards lower lows. So this would actually print a 6. So let me just demonstrate it for you like this. You know, next week we'll push up to here. Once you get to that line, it's going to change this setup phase to a bearish setup phase. But we'd have to close there on that week. And I don't think we would close there on that week. We'd most likely come and test that area to try to change that setup phase. Then we'd obviously come back down underneath this level right over here, which would keep this setup phase inside of a bullish setup phase. Remember, bullish setup phase and bearish setup phase is the opposite of what you're thinking when it comes to TD9 sequential. You know, so when we're talking about bullish setup phase, we're pointing towards lower lows, at least 9 candles lower low wise. So it's not uncommon for price action to go and test previous candles, at least 4 back, to try to change that setup phase. So this would be like a retest area right over here inside this zone, and then maybe coming back down into this area, closing inside of this zone. As long as we can hold above like 2172 for the month, that'd be great. We'd still be inside of a bullish setup phase. But then going into the following week, then it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's just closing above this area right over here. So assuming, what is this level? 2076. So let's assume we close like around 2172 for the week. Still bearish, a bullish setup phase. But then we go into the next week and we come down a little bit lower, retest, and then we move up. That's what changes the setup phase altogether. So all in all, it would take roughly around like 2 to 3 weeks for that setup phase to complete, to change, and that's going to put us inside the month of March. And now, month of March, obviously, we can get some sweeps down to the low side as long as we don't make a lower low beyond 1744. Then that's going to confirm the wave A for us on the monthly. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully, it does. 6 hits doesn't mean that it's going to break down. It just means it's finding support here at this area, just like it was finding resistance here. 1 hit, 2 hit, so you're hitting a ceiling here and then you're hitting a floor. So in between the two, you have this range. Sure, could it break down? Absolutely, it very well so. But that's not what that points towards. That points towards it's finding and trying to develop some support here in this area, because we had our push down here in this area, try to push up. They pushed the price right back down. We had found some support here in this area, which is 1864. It's one of the targets that I have as well too. Pushed up a little bit. Then the next following candle, this candle made a new high. So then this level right over here became a support level for us. This is really where the rectangle began, if you will, from this level, because from this level we pushed to a high, a local high, which started creating and we actually have another hit. I missed that. Boom, we have 4 hits there from a 4-hour perspective. So 4 hits here, 6 hits down here. This is the range that we're looking at in compression, which feeds a narrative of what I'm looking at. Let's look at, imbalance is sitting at 100%. We got a green dye that's most likely going to print here soon, because the trend is pushing down. Even though we got a red dye that pushed here, that typically points towards divergence. And just got to be a little bit cautious on this DMI. That's my only concern, if you will. So shorts are leading right now, just based on indicator wise. But if this ADX curves down, there's an immediate loss of strength. That points towards sellers are exhausted. They're tired. They're trying to push the price down, but buyers, bulls, whatever you want to label, like they're just absorbing and absorbing and absorbing and absorbing. And you can see that based on volume. When you get to like lower time frames, you can start to see how volume is being absorbed. Give me a quick second, guys. I got to step away for 2 seconds. I got to use the restroom actually, but I'll be right back. Meh, not really, but I mean, go that way one. Where are my pivots? There you are. In 2000s again. I'm Batman. No, I work with what I have. I'll probably adjust that. Did that change? Oh no, it didn't change. Okay. I was like, damn, did I get deeper with that? I'll probably adjust that up a little bit more. Yeah, because I was targeting this right over here. Yeah, I'll leave that the way that is. What do I have on that? 1796. All right, nice 3R right there. Nice 7R on that. I'm good with 2R on that too. I don't know if this pattern is going to play out. I'm playing around with some ideas. Let's look for some shaved heads here on lower time frames. You got a shaved bottom though. 1918. Got one on 1980. Let's just look for shaved heads right now. The majority of these got cleared. Yeah, all these got cleared except for you. You got cleared, but you didn't get cleared. What are you, 1980? Yeah, you're 1980. And what are you? 2012. And what are you? You got cleared. Okay. And what about you? You got cleared. You're the only one that didn't get cleared yet. 2012. Let's just throw those ideas on there real quick. was the other one? The other one was right over here. I actually got a couple over here. Jeez, I have a couple. Looks familiar. Oof, I need to drop my AC, man. It's hot. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. Damn, they're trying to push that price hard on BTC. It's not good. They're doing their absolute best to push that hard. Feeling okay, man. Feeling okay. Thank you for asking. Feeling okay. Had my conversations with God this morning. Feel good about it. Little book that I'm reading here. You guys are into any type of books? So some stuff that I'm just reading, keep myself aligned with him. Yeah, back to that. That's fine. One thing I wanted, because on 4 hour, I mean, I'm still running warm on a 4 hour. That's getting hot already. I'll probably clear that imbalance 1940 and then get another push down. Okay, so what if I went from 1 to... that could be... Yeah, that gets me larger. I hope that gets invalidated. Like invalidated like wave D. But see, I'm inside this internal structure. I don't like that. my best bet would be I'll probably get an anti-pattern if I do it that way. Now, which one of you buggers are going to be my wave B? If I go to you, you're quite large. I think I would have to adjust that. But then again, patterns follow patterns. So I'm not going to do this from a 3-minute. I'm going to go over to like a 34. Let's take this off. Let's see what we got on 34. I mean, I do have a larger pattern that sits here. Which I never mapped out. And you can put it right here too. Same difference. Yeah. That could be the larger one because patterns follow patterns. Come on. That's too deep for a wave C. That won't work like that, but that could work like this. There you are. Yeah, that works. Holy crap, that works. Because patterns follow patterns. That's really what I'm utilizing. I don't know, I'm going crazy what I see. If you could grab that, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. Or okay, so I need extension levels then. Nah, look at you. Look at you. Okay. I need one more. I need two more. 1.618. I need that. Actually, you know what? I don't need you. I'll change you. I'm on 34 minute. Do I have any shaved heads over here? That's something that we should probably look at. None of this matters. You mean to tell me there's not one shaved head? Wow. Okay, interesting. But I definitely know we have boxes. And that puts me in my expansion levels, which are very close to this right over here. So somewhere inside here. Let's just go with 1.4. Let's move you over. And I could be wrong about this wave X. I don't feel like I'm wrong about these if I would go that way. But let's go even bigger. Let's go even bigger. Let's take some of this off. Because I know I have a bunch of imbalance that sit there. Okay. Unless that's a massive wave B. Welcome to Arts and Craft, kids. Today, we're going to be playing with symmetricals and triangles. Sorry, I spaced out on that. I'm just trying to figure out this idea here. This is how my brain works. This is how I operate. I mean, the only other way, that would be massive though. Yeah, that would be gargantuic. That's way too big. That's way too big. I need more data for that to develop. But I like this. This looks decent. We'll play with those ideas. What's today, 19th? All day, Saint. Yeah, okay, so now see, like, it just cleared that imbalance. So now that's cleared. Don't need that anymore. It's the next level that it would need to clear. I appreciate that, Sniper. Thank you, bro. The 1 hour? Let me take a look. Yeah, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just take off heat maps. This always confused me with heat maps. At least getting candles. Closes, which it's closed and bearish or bullish. So I'll just take that off real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it has to close above 1921 on 1 hour to flip that setup phase. I did print a 1 on the lead up phase. I did print a 1, so that's kind of comforting. Now 4, I need to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's right over here. I think that might be a stretch. We got like 2.5 hours left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's even a bigger stretch. And does that coincide with what level is that? What is that? 2018? I think that lines up with a imbalance that we marked off. Yep, right over here. Right over there. 2011, 2018, so clearing that. It's very similar to like kind of where it cleared over there. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. geez, they're aping in at 1935. Yeah, they're packing in on 1935. Got a little cluster going on there. That trend is so weak. These can't. That I mean, if that crosses, that's no bueno. That's no bueno if that crosses. Yeah, short, right? Yeah. I'm not. I mean, yes, I have my own indicators that are pointing towards that, but I'm not. I just don't trust that. We had something very similar that occurred right here. I want to see if the same thing happens here. Similarities, see if we get the same thing. If we get the same thing, then maybe we get a little push. Let's look at USDT real quick. Okay. Okay, you're breaking against that. No, there's no way, dude. There's no way. That's that wouldn't make any sense. You'd have to come down to these levels. So what makes a little bit more sense to me is if I'm gonna go from here to here, that would be because it could be a complex wave. Yeah, that could happen. It's a possibility, unless, bro, I swear, if this was wave 4, because you see how it bounced off of this 0.236, but this looks like a complex wave 4. That's what that looks like. Looks like a complex wave 4. Yeah, almost identical to ETH, kind of like what's occurring here, right? Remember I just showed you that box on ETH? Like literally doing the same crap. If that breaks above, it's no bueno. But printing a green dot here at the top is not a good sign. Not in the sense of like lower, just, you know, you should usually get green dots from the bottom. The same thing, opposite is true. You get red dots there on the bottom. They're just flushing. There's just divergence. So I don't have a green dot that printed here. That's really what we're looking for. Go back over to 3 minute. What you doing? What you doing? And it's getting to this other. It's now getting into another compression phase on lower time frame, at least on a 3 minute. DMI is difficult to use on lower time frames. I'm not saying that the data is not there. It's just it can give you misleading information. So that's why I typically like to stick to like 4 hours and above. You know, I don't disdain from it. But there's a compression move building on those lower time frames. Yeah. You guys are gonna squeeze down. Yep, you're gonna squeeze. Heat map wise, let's That's one thing I don't like about this 4-hour, to be honest with you. I don't like that. On a daily, meh, it's okay. It's okay. 3-day looks really good on a 3-day. 5-day looks amazing from a cooldown perspective, right? Like you got cooldowns, 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 cooldowns. All this is just showing us like absorption here in this area. 4-hour doesn't look like it's quite ready yet. Let me look at that. Have we had, what color is that? It's like a bright orange, if you will. Yeah. Yeah, we've had that. Something similar to that. Oh yeah, here's a good example too. Yeah, that's a good example. But I'm not that, that color, and I started dropping, and I got into this ugly yellow, and then it pushed up. That's the only thing right there, because we were running hot here, came down a little bit, but then just pushed. Then it got hot, cooled down, and went up. Another doji? That's what that looks like. Looks like a doji wants to form here. It's got 2 hours left in that thing. Just volume. Just another one of those days, guys. Another one of those days. You guys can watch my my beard and my hair grow back. Might have better odds and better bets on that. This is not, so unreliable here. SMC is unreliable here because it's inside of range. It's just truly unreliable. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Damn. I might need to adjust that. Oh yeah, that puts me in here. Oof. If it's gonna flush, it's gonna flush. That would be the area. We'd have to have like serious demand in that area. Y'all are serious. Not one order block down there. Nobody wants it. Hey, next one is here. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Bro, what about, you know, like a 2-minute? Somebody wanted it there. Alright, so what are you guys doing then? You're just taking a stab in the dark, dude. There's no way. You're taking a stab in the dark. You're taking a stab. You're just longing any. You're shorting any pump you see. I need to log in to do that. That's a pain for me to do because I gotta go to my Gmail. I actually don't want to do that. Let me just because I want to check on this guy's wallet, see where he's at, if he actually closed, if he's still holding. Twenty-two 63. 22 63. Dang, this guy's. Yeesh. Basically at a break even, bro. Ay, ay, ay. I've been tracking this guy. This guy's he's got one of the largest positions on Hyperliquid. Start off with like 125. You went to 125, took some profits. He did roughly like 5 mil this week, but now he's like 5 mil in the red. And he's holding an average price of 2010. This guy's adamant. Adamant. Oh, he's completely out. Oh no, okay, he took a break. That's Win. That's James Win. Oh, I gotta log into this one too. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Yeah, we got buy orders that are stepping in on ETH on Hyperliquid as well too. That's that little beep you keep hearing. I don't know if you hear it or not, but that's what that beep is. And when the coffee gets cold, turn it into coffee con leche. We've got a bunch of sell orders that are now stepping in here. I can hear the beep going off. Yeah, they're shorting it from here. Yeah, on the breaker structure too. Oh, we got a 9 coming. Okay. Impulse. But we also got an 8. Sniper, I think this is what you were talking about earlier. Maybe I overlooked that, maybe. Yeah, hammer on the bottom of a trend. That's not too shabby. No. Give us our 9. Give us our 9. Don't stop now. Yeah, give us our 9. Yeah, so they're probably trying to push for scalps. That's how I'm reading that. Yeah, if we get a hammer, they're running into exhaustion here on a 1 hour. Right, because look at volume. Volume is slightly decreasing. If you get a flush down and volume doesn't match it, they're getting tired there. And then you might get a green dot. You can see in the index is showing exhaustion. Then you have a loss of strength here right now. Flow like water. Somebody long 1916. 10x 60,000 position, not that large. $11 million wallet though, or portfolio, excuse me. And then somebody faded it. Somebody shorted 1915. And those shorts are getting heavy. Getting topsy-turvy. Bottom of this rectangle again. Why do I feel like that keeps adjusting? Okay. We're probably going to get another sweep here in the next 4 hour. 1997. Yeah, we'll probably get that in the next 4 hours. Just not out of the woods, man. I'm literally going to label the month of February in 2026 as defense month. Yeah, I mean, if we can, I mean, we got the 8, but I really want to see like this body, you know, in a perfect world for me, I want to see like this body close like that. You know, down over here in this area. I want to see it close over there. You know, inverted hammer on a downtrend. Yes, relatively good, decent sign. We got 2 minutes left in this bad boy. And then you got a hammer down here inside this area. I think 4 hour gave us a falling 3. Yeah. That's what this was earlier. You had 1, then 1, 2, 3. It didn't close above, even though you got a wick, and then boom, which was equal in height. You got a continuation there. So that's kind of standard. This next 1 hour session will probably give us that little bit of flush. All eyes on you. You guys like the new stream colors? The yellow and gold. We gotta name this dog. We gotta name the doggy. And call him Biscuit. Go get the biscuit. XAU, BTC. Yeah, I can look at it. Give me a minute. Let me just wait for this next hour to develop and I'll look at it. You talking about this one? Longs? Shorts? Anyone in particular? Which one, no, buddy? Which one? I'll wait for you. All right, this hour coming in. Not exactly how I wanted to see it. It's a Takuri line. It's a, kind of like a 50-50. We do got a break of structure, which is decent. We even have a break of structure on the 4 hour too. If you want to give me the specific handle, the pair name, I'll pull it up. That'd be helpful. Here? This one? So it's the first one. Yeah, that's got more juice in it. That's got more juice in it. Jeez, that volume is ridiculous. Look at that. Yeah, but I think that's got a little bit more juice in it. Because you're printing an 8 right here. That's from a 3-day perspective. Are you running hot though? That's the only thing. Ugh, boiling hot. Oy, oy, oy. Maybe get one more little exit pump into this area. If you don't get an exit pump, you'll definitely revisit this area. I think you got a shaved bottom right here too. Yeah, you got a shaved bottom that sits right over here. So, damn, you got another shaved bottom that sits right here too? Oh no, okay, just right here. Damn, you got another shaved bottom over here? No, okay, so it's really just right there. One, two, three, yeah. That's what that looks like to me. Four either here or four here. Let's just say here. And then you'll probably get a 5 here. You'll probably finish here though, but relatively same area. I'll post this inside my corner just so you have it, so you can reference to it later. I'm gonna head back over to ETH real quick, but I'll save that for you. Actually, I won't put that in my corner. I'll just put that inside the stream section, just under request. It's inside the stream, just so it's there for you. If you want to pop into there. You're welcome, brother. Anytime. And I owe you an apology. I never had the opportunity to look at dominance. I just got so inundated with other things. So my apologies for that. I never forgot about it. I just never had the opportunity to get into it. And we can see this on a 13-minute. Like, look what's going on right here. Like, right? Just zoom out. Like, look at this. It just keeps. You know what? Let's look at bandwidth real quick. You're definitely squeezing hard. You're definitely squeezing hard. I don't need this. I just want to look at it. I'm not a Bollinger Band trader. Actually, let me go back to that. I want to look at this from 4 hour. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. And that feeds right into this. That feeds into that. You printed a sell dot. Oh, that was the old one. Okay. Actually, let's look at 1362. It's a little cleaner. I don't need heat map though, so I know you're trying to put it on. Even though you're green, I don't need you there. I know this is a unique time frame, but for me, like it just gives me a little bit cleaner. Because you did wick lower, right? No, you were lower. So it's you. That would really suck. That would really suck. My gosh, I would cry. That would be absurd. I had volume on that one. It kind of lines up, matches. Okay. Yeah, huge cluster right inside here. Oh man. So I feel like I don't know, man. It's not confusing. I just feel like, when we get those breaker structures, I want to see a breaker structure hold, and then we can, start making more sense of longs. So something similar to this, right? Like you had a breaker structure over here, popped up, but relatively we kind of held this area because you see these wicks, so that makes sense. I really want to see a breaker structure here, then kind of hold this area. So what I'm doing here is like I'm on I have another screen here on the bottom. So these little tiny compressions right over here. I'm just scalping these little tiny moves, just boop, taking little tiny profits out, 10%, 5%, and some moves 25%. I did miss this one. I was looking at something else. I think I was in Hyperliquid. I missed that altogether. I should have took some profits there, and I didn't. But I've taken a little bit so far. So it kind of looks like that right now. So these little moves, right? These little moves right inside here. Just boop, boop. I've already taken a couple times here, so it makes the move worth it, right? So even if I come back to break even, or if I get a little bit of lower target, then I'm fine in that regard. And then if I can hold it and it pushes it higher, then good. We're Gucci. But just adding and then stripping, adding and then stripping, adding and then stripping. Just fast little moves. When we see this, like not being overly committed to it, and then holding, get back to this area, then all of a sudden, panic and closing inside of that area. We have some absorption that's going in this area. I still think we might flush these zones right over here. Get a little bit lower, pick up some of these orders. That could very well happen. On a 4 hour, we have like an hour and 45 minutes left. So just working this 1 hour right over here. In and out, 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 in and out. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. This week is from a challenge perspective, like running the challenge, I believe we're trying to get up to at least 3 this week on the challenge. And price action is just difficult. We did at least one this week. Actually, I did that last night. That's why I was just happy. I was like, yeah, I'll take the band and then just rebuild from there. And if I don't hit my goal, I don't hit my goal. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm not going to force a trade because I have to hit a specific goal. That's just like the target of where I'm reaching. You know, next week could be much more fruitful in that regard, where maybe the goal gets doubled. But I rather protect the capital, protect where we're at from a challenge perspective, and just build upon that. Because none of us know what tomorrow's going to bring, right? But we can all control, you know, risk management from that perspective. You see moves, you see profits, just take it off the top, skim a little bit here, skim a little bit there. I'm going to be in this server here like in the next 15 minutes or so, you know, engaging with you guys, answering questions that you guys may have. But if you have any questions while I'm here live, always feel free to ask. Happy to answer them for you. And do check out some of the journals that we have that are being built inside the server. We got some good traders, you know, that are showing their intelligence, showing their discipline, you know, showing their results. So that we have a good amount of traders in there thus so far that are putting some really good ideas from BTC to ETH, some coins that I don't even trade, me personally. So take a look at those whenever you guys get a chance. There is a $100 giveaway inside of the month of February for, you know, the most detailed and consistent journal that we have out there. It's going to be random, of course, but obviously the qualifications are going to be, you know, consistency, you know, whether you win or you lose a trade, it's just that consistency, just, you know, being transparent with your trades and sharing your thoughts. So that way, you know, you're not blindly going in or just essentially gambling. So if you want to partake in that, you know, you still have time. You're a little bit behind the curve, I'm not gonna lie, because there's other people that have been building their journals since, you know, the beginning of this month. But nevertheless, you could be entered into it. Like I said, it's random. So do check out the journal section whenever you guys get an opportunity. We've done 3 giveaways so far this month. One was for, you know, ETH hitting the 2788. That was a giveaway that we had prior to, you know, the shifts into our server. We did another giveaway for the Citadel badge, and then we're going to do a 3rd giveaway this month. I don't say that to impress you, just more so impress upon that, you know, it's beneficial being inside of our server. You know, there's giveaways that we're doing consistently every single month, and that's our goal, is to, you know, reward the ones that are actually here to build and learn. Not just for farming and things like that, but reward those people that are spending their time in refining their skills, whether it be refining their own skills or helping others to refine theirs. You know, there's a reward system for that. Yeah, I believe in time is valuable. It's the one thing that none of us will ever get back. So if you're sharing your time, your thoughts, your efforts, those individuals should be rewarded in that regard. Yeah, that psychological 1900 block just got thicker. I just noticed that. right over here. This block just got thicker. There's a bunch that are developing here. And they're still shorting it. They're still shorting. Oof, they're shorting it heavy. Wow, they're shorting it heavy. Yeah, you got, especially on Sol, my goodness. Poor Sol. What did Sol do to you guys? What did Sol do to you guys? These guys are animals. These guys want lower. Especially on Sol. Sol had a good little run like the last 2 days, the beginning of this week. You know, I had a decent little run, you know, from an intraday perspective. Let's look at River. Dude, I longed River at 1.13 and then I closed it. It was like a small little profit on it. Nothing major. I was just scalping it in and out. One thing I like about River is like you don't need a large margin. You don't need a large margin. Let me see if River kind of gets back into these zones. I'm just being patient with it as we get into these areas. Yeah, see, look, they're shorting every single little mini pump right down here in this area, and then buyers are trying to absorb it. But we can see inside the market right now, like they're going in there heavy. There's a big battle going on all across the board. This is all across the board right over here. I have 90 minutes left on this bad boy. Got an 8 on an 89 minute. Come on, break of structure. See, this is decent. This is kind of like what I'm looking for on a 4-hour, right? You got your break of structure kind of hung around this area, got a little push up, you know, came back down a little bit lower here in this area. I want to see something similar on that 4-hour. I want to see that break of structure hold. This change of character is just dog water, in my opinion. So it forces tighter stop loss, which I believe that's what institutional money man is actually going to be targeting. That's the psychology of what they want to create those tight stop losses, flush those people out, and then push the price right back up. Big long order just went in on nope, wrong one. Oh, you closed it. Oh, you sissy. Why'd you close it? You closed it. $581,000. That's a smaller account. Jeez, dude, you just deployed almost half your account. Wow, high conviction, I guess. What'd you do? 76. Yeah, these are smaller. 50,000. This guy just full ported. This guy just full ported. This guy just full ported. Wow. That's, I mean, that looks like a sign of desperation or high conviction, one of the two. Man, he's relatively running flat. He's not losing. Man, this guy's got tight risk management. Okay, that's good. This guy's ballsy, though. Full port. Interesting. That's not the one I wanted. It keeps moving so fast, I can't grab it fast enough. Stop! I lost it. No, there's another one. Wow, good push. What happened? Oh, they're gonna. Are you gonna squeeze the bottom shorters? That's what's up. Yeah, you got large orders coming in. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I don't trust it though, because I'm still in a 4-hour. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit off of that just because. There we go. I'm happy with that. I'll let the rest ride. Just like that. Just like that. Because you guys start aping in on your longs makes me nervous. I'll let the rest ride and see if I can get another pickup order on the next 4-hour. Which comes in like another hour 33 or so. Let's go to 89-minute. Yeah. Until we break that, I'm just gonna trim. I'll still leave runners going, you know what I'm saying? Like, still leaving like 173 margin in there. But, you know, I've already done, you know, $1.50 on it. In the span of like, what time did I pop on here? 11:30. So 2 hours. $75 an hour, which is not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it. $19.60. Yeah, possible. Yeah, retesting that other breaker structure is possible. Es un posible. Ah, nice. As a Christian man, I wish no harm on anybody. But USDT is not a person. And I pray for its utter destruction. Can it just do that? One good time, just boop. One good time. And then you got some orders picking up at 1970. Yeah, they're moving their orders up. What happened? You guys don't believe it anymore? 2100? Yeah, I see that. 2250, definitely see that. 2300. I think that lines up with what we're looking at now, 4-hour. 2295 for 1.618 and 2500. Yeah, look at that psychological. They already got orders sitting there at 2500. These two levels, 2250. Yeah, that's right above. Nah, you guys are probably spoofing. 2100, no, I don't know. 2300 block makes sense because that's 2295, 1.618. Psychological level, obviously 2300 even. My goodness, where did you come from? Aren't you sexy? Oh, you look good. $19.64. Yeah, we got a little ceiling sitting right over there. And they're right back to shorting. They're right back to shorting. Bro, let that be the fuel. Please let that be the fuel. Let that be the fuel. Wow. Big battle. Oh yeah, they're doing their absolute hardest trying to push that price. Oh, can I catch it? Oh, can I catch it? Can I catch it? Let me catch it. Let me catch it. Oh, I think I grabbed the wrong one. Bro, this is like fishing. Stop moving so quickly. Dude, I can't click on it fast enough. There we go. I think I grabbed it. $1 million position on a long. 502. Use a good chunk of your portfolio there. These guys are wild, man. What did this homeboy do? Wrong one again. Come on, Saint. You know those carnival games where you have to like move a ring around? That's kind of what it feels like without touching the sides. Are you a bot trader? No, you're not a bot trader, but where's your ETH? You must have closed your ETH. All right, not out of the woods yet. Not out of the woods yet. Yeah, bro, I'm trying to catch it like it's like snagging, like I missed it. All right, so you guys know what the plan is, right? You guys have an idea. You guys understand the thought process. I'm gonna hop into the server here with you guys. Essentially trade with you, chat with you guys. May even go into the stage there and just kind of shoot the stuff with you guys overall. But the game plan hasn't changed. You know, we're either instead of that rectangle bottom, and we're gonna maintain that. Maybe we get a nice little flush down into like 1897. 1892 instead of those areas, and then we can pull back up. The next 4-hour session is really going to determine that. In that sense, if we get a higher low, then we're good. Then we position. As I said earlier, you know, if you're longing that 1912, the bottom of that rectangle bottom, I don't think it's a bad move altogether. Just, you know, keep your stop losses relatively within like 2%, in my opinion, right? 2% from wherever your entry level is going to be. You know, it could be like about 30 to about 60 pips away from entry level. If you're running a higher margin, then obviously, you know, keep a tighter stop loss. Please do not full port. You know, we've witnessed and see what some of these guys are doing on Hyperliquid as far as full porting. That's a very dangerous move altogether. So don't put all your eggs inside of one basket. Be okay with, you know, going to a 2-minute, 3-minute time frame, taking a little bit of profit, seeing if it comes back to entry, looking for another add back inside of that area, because we're inside of this compression zone. And until we get a breakout to the upside or a breakdown to the downside, you know, we're still inside of that little pocket. So that deems and warrants why you just want to take quick little profits. Boom, 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 boom. Everyone, including myself, we are all shrimps. We are all retail in comparison to these bigger players that are out there. So we don't want to fade some of what the big boys are doing that are out there. So if they're going in heavy short, you're going to see a flush down in the market, but they could intentionally be doing that, pushing the price down just to flush everybody out, tight stop losses, and then pull the price right back up. So you got to be diligent on that. Utilizing a 4-hour down to a 1-hour, even down to a 3-minute. So just kind of playing with all those time frames. Very similar to what we saw last week. It was slow throughout the course of the week. Then, you know, as went to Thursday and Friday, then we actually start seeing some type of movement. So if we can maintain this rectangle bottom, the targets that we're looking at were already discussed. And if you forgot what they were, or if you came late into the stream, they're inside of the stream section for the playback. So you have all the material that you need to make a concise decision if this is something that you want to be trading or if this is something that you want to review. Other than that, I thank you guys for being with me here today. I'll be here again tomorrow, roughly right around the same time, looking at some ideas. If we do have movement, around Asia or London, I'll be posting them inside the server. As I said, I'll be chatting with you guys for the remainder of the day inside of there, and then guiding you wherever I can as best as possible. Continue to be safe with your trades, be profitable, and above all, God bless you guys. And if someone hasn't told you today,